I do think it's important to consider that when Dave Rubin talks about well-funded this or that, his Russian money source just dried up, and he's the last person who should be talking about funding sources. And to be honest, Dave, hold on a second, hold on. From an anti-trans organization making completely unsubstantiated claims. So I will wait for the apology from you. The UN report doesn't say that, but that wasn't the crux of your question.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. You need to fact check these idiots. So when it comes to watching debates or conversations that are revolved around political topics or just historical background context, things like facts, data are sometimes irrelevant in those kind of conversations. So when I finally watch something and hearing individuals that are basing their information or their arguments in facts and data, to me, it kind of turns me on. You know what I'm saying? I know that's TMI, but it just intrigues me when people can make a strong argument, whether I agree or not. If they can make a strong argument that you can look at facts and statistics and it kind of makes sense, those are the kind of conversations I want to have. You know what I'm saying? What frustrates me more is when we're spending a lot of our time and efforts talking about things that don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, whoever you are, those kind of conversations might be important to you, but on a large, grand scheme of things, like trans people that make up less than 1% of Americans, why are we spending day and night, years? This is a never-ending conversation about trans people, and let alone the percentage is smaller when it comes to trans people playing in sports. It's not a pandemic. It's not like we having billions across the globe just dominating, you know, women's sports. No, that is not a thing. That is not a pandemic. So why after year after year after year are we having the same conversation? It gets annoying. We should be having conversations like 12% of Americans are living below poverty line. Take a look at those numbers. That's, if you want to talk about small numbers, talk about that, because that will impact actual working Americans. If you want to go even smaller, 5% of Americans work double jobs. Why is that? The greatest country on the earth, and we having individuals working two jobs? I thought we were supposed to be able to work a job and supply our family with what they need. Why are individuals forced to work two jobs just to barely make ends meet? Can we talk about that? No, let's talk about trans people who are already being marginalized, demonized by opportunists and people with low IQ and misinformed. But need I say anymore? Of course, we have Piers Morgan, someone who just thrives off of bringing people onto his show that are misinformed and just saying dumb stuff. But of course, we have, boom, David Pakman. I've been watching him for a couple years now. I think he's pretty daggone amazing. I would say he's an ally myself. So let's go ahead and dive into the dumbest conversation people can have right now.
David Pakman, I want to start with you. You were very clear to me when we spoke before the election that this whole issue of transgenders in sport and so on was completely irrelevant and nobody cared. Let me remind you.
You're saying Kamala Harris and Biden have come out in support of this.
They do. They support policies which actively protect. They support policies that protect transgender athletes performing in women's sport. And I think that is madness. You're saying, well, because most of these things in this UN report were outside of America, it doesn't matter. It does matter.
What I'm saying, it's a completely contrived issue that almost no one cares about in every single opinion poll.
Wow. Well, the problem is, David, you couldn't have possibly been any more wrong, because the New York Times, the liberal Bible, did a whole piece about the ad that Trump ran, which is the Kamala's for they, them, Donald Trump's for you. They said it's one of the most effective 30-second spots in political history and may have shifted the race, according to her own side, by 2.7 percentage points in Trump's favour after people watched it. Let's take a look at the ad before I come to you.
For prisoners.
For prisoners, every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
Kamala supports transgender sex changes in jail with our money.
Kamala even supports letting biological men compete against our girls in their sports. Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Now, first off, this whole entire conversation right here that she's having, if you look at the entire conversation, she puts it in context. She didn't just randomly talk about transing every immigrant prisoner on the face of the earth. No, listen to it in context. Then you'll kind of have a better understanding. And the rule or the law that she's talking about has been in the books way before she's even became vice president. This is decades old. So like, I don't understand why we're like assuming she just created this, but okay, you know, that's not the video we're talking about.
Are you wrong about this?
No, in fact, in the aftermath, we figured out how dishonest you were, Piers, during that. And hopefully we can get a little bit of an opportunity. So let me lay it out. First of all, I went back and looked at the UN report in more detail. The UN report said nothing of the sort that you said. What you were referring to dishonestly was one footnote from an anti-trans organization making completely unsubstantiated claims. So I will wait for the apology from you. The UN report doesn't say that, but that wasn't the crux of your question.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. You need to fact check these idiots who will take small, minute, just irrelevant information and they will blow it up on purpose. They will blow it up either because they hate trans people or they're opportunists and they know talking about those type of subjects will get them clicks, will get them attention. And that's what they want. You think Piers Morgan really cares about trans people playing in sports? 99% of people, of men who are watching these women's sports are just looking at it just to look at it. And you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? They don't know nothing about women's volleyball, but they're watching it. You know what I'm saying? So David is correct. Most people don't even care about women's sports to begin with, okay? So to act like, you know, people around the world are just just up in arms about transplanting women's sports, which is not a thing, not a huge thing. Those are opportunists and or they hate trans people or they hate themselves because deep down inside, that's who they are. So they hate themselves and they're projecting that on other people. So I digress, right?
Second part of it, that ad with Kamala, I would have loved Kamala to respond to it. All she had to say was at the time that she said that, it was Trump administration Bureau of Prisons policy that that's what's available to trans inmates when determined medically necessary. She would follow the law. You haven't said that. And then number 3, Piers, on who cares about the issue, I checked Gallup survey, trans issues at the very bottom. The reality is almost no one's trans. Almost no trans people are in competitive sports. And people do not care about the issue. However, there's a lot of money made grifting about trans this and trans that, even from people on this panel. So,
that's what I'm talking about. We need to call these people out in their faces, not just on Twitter, not just on Facebook or YouTube. When you get the opportunity to speak to these evil people who will capitalize off of demonizing other people, call that shit out. ASAP. Those type of individuals are not our friends. They are not true Americans. If they are making a quick dollar off of profiting off of demonizing other Americans and putting their safety in harm's way, putting a target on their back, those are not Americans. Those are actual enemies. When you are making money off of dividing other Americans, that is not patriotic. Quit lying to yourself. That's not how that works. So, David Patby, that's why. That's why we need to uplift and we need to support individuals like that. That is amazing.
I get why they keep bringing it up.
I actually want to bring in an extra guest, the former Democratic congressional candidate, Brianna Wu, who is also a trans woman. Brianna, welcome to Uncensored. I can't think of anyone better qualified, given you're the only trans member of the panel now.
What's happening with the left is that these saviors, these progressive warriors that you see in these boxes here, think that they know more about these people than they know about themselves.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And by the way, you know, this has nothing to do with a well-funded evil money machine that the Republicans were doing. There's something called boys and girls, and
Ruben's
they are
the right
different.
guy to talk about
and
that,
most
isn't
parents, he? Most parents, oh God, you're such a smug prick. Listen, most parents actually want to defend their daughters and don't want them to have the crap kicked out of them by boys, and they don't want them to be playing boys in soccer or any of these other things. That is a defense of girls. If someone, as an adult, 18, 21, we can discuss the age, wants to dress how they want, have any surgeries, take whatever drugs, do whatever they want with their body, most people, even Republicans, don't object to that. And I have no...
That is false. That is 100% false. Once again, trying to will in idiots who don't know the Republican platform. If they could, they would get rid of every single trans person. This whole, I mean, you know, if you're over age and, you know, you can do what you want. Well, shouldn't that be the same thing with women's rights? I mean, it's their body. They should have a choice in that, right? But no, of course not. They'll lie to you just like a good con man. They'll lie to you. And then when they get the opportunity, the power, what did Trump do when he became president his first term? He appointed judges who he knew was going to be on pro-life judges. And what happened? You see what I'm saying? So don't fall for the, hey, you know, if you're over age and, you know, you can just make your own choices. They'll tell you that and then pull the rug right from under you when you get too comfortable. That is a consistency of the Republican Party.
No problem referring to Brianna as she, because I can clearly sense she would treat me with respect and I'll treat her with respect. And it's a two-way street rather than pandering and bowing to a bunch of people that could not give a crap about anybody else.
Yeah, and David, hang on, let me bring in David Pakman again, because you were very quick when I asked how you felt about being so wrong about this to accuse me of being misleading, disinformation, misconstruing a United Nations report. So because we're a very nimble team here, while you were talking, they just went and double checked because I was curious what you were talking about. And we found, we found the United Nations report. And it's not a footnote, as you said, it's page 5 of the report. It says, and I quote, the United Nations says nearly 900 biological females have fallen short of the podium because they were beaten out by trans athletes. The findings were compiled by the UN's Rapporteur on Violence Against Women, entitled Violence Against Women and Girls in Sport. The report said more than 600 athletes didn't medal in more than 400 competitions in 29 different sports, totaling over 890 medals. The replacement of the female sports category with a mixed sex category has resulted in an increasing number of female athletes losing opportunities, including medals, when competing against males, the report said. So, David, again, would you like to now apologise for being not only wrong about this being an election issue, but being wrong about your correction when I asked you if you were sorry for being wrong?
Look at the underlying source, Piers. I have it printed out
it was
in
a
the other room.
It wasn't a
Look
footnote.
at the underlying source.
It's page
now,
5.
I do want to say one thing about this.
Hey, sources matter. Okay, people are biased. I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm unbiased," and you're like, no, stop lying to people. People have biases. So if you're getting your information from people who are extremely anti-trans people, they're going to give you information that only feeds into your belief, your viewpoint. You see what I'm saying? So sources matter. That's why when I was reading and listening about the Israel and Palestinian conflict, I had to listen to like people like Ben Shapiro. He has plenty of content on there that's pro-Israel. I had to sit there and watch hours of it so I could understand, at least try to find something, maybe anything that we can agree on, which unfortunately is not really much. But you can't just sit in your own echo chamber just listening to people that have the same viewpoint as you. So sources do matter. Piers, come on now.
I actually agree with a lot of what Brianna and what Dave Ruben said. I actually agree with I am not the savior here to do X, Y, or Z for trans people. What I'm saying is I don't actually think I even need to play that role. I don't think this is the issue that maybe you think I believe it to be. So I agree with a lot of what Dave Ruben and Brianna said there. I do think it's important to consider that when Dave Ruben talks about well-funded this or that, his Russian money source just dried up, and he's the last person who should be talking about funding sources. And to be honest, Dave, hold on a second. Hold on.
Hey, it's not a good look if you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars from a foreign entity and you're in politics strictly on one side. It's a little shady. You see what I'm saying? If you found out that I was getting paid millions of dollars from Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton, you would look at me kind of funny. You'd be like, I need to go through everything that you're saying with a fine-tooth comb now. Because I don't know if you're trying to like sugarcoat some things that is propaganda from the left side or the right side. You will look at me kind of funny. So sources matter. And you need to know where these people are getting their money. That's kind of important, right? But of course, individuals that look up to Dave Ruben or Ben Shapiro or Tim Pool, they don't care about that because they're too brainwashed to even care. You know, so hey, once again, David Pakman, call these idiots out by any means necessary.
Now Ben's jumping. Everybody's jumping. Hold on. I can't even hear Ben. Why would Ben jump in? I'm not even addressing Ben. I think Dave's sorry that Brian and I
let me. You made a very direct charge against Dave Ruben. Let Dave Ruben reply to that.
Because no one believes your BS anymore. Jesus Christ, these people are so pathetic.
They've been indicted, Ruben. The Tenet Media people were indicted.
I got indicted.
He was not indicted, and it said in the report, if you weren't a smug prick, to quote him earlier.
I didn't say Ruben was indicted. I just said the money dried up.
That Dave Ruben and the others involved did not know about it, and this is why people think you're kind of a jackass.
Yes, this is why everyone hates
putting words in my mouth.
This is the reason why you read the report. And by the way, Pakman, if this happened to you, and in the
Ben's
report it said you were unaware,
if
it said that you were unaware, I would defend you because I don't think you indict people for things.
Of course, we're unaware. If somebody dropped $100,000 into my bank account or into my YouTube revenue, however that's done, if people are constantly or someone is dropping that kind of money, trust me, I am not going to take it unless I really don't care. But you might want to check that because no one's just going to love you so much because you're an amazing person and give you hundreds of thousands of dollars each month. It's a little, you might want to be responsible enough and check out that information. So I don't buy it at all. Oh, I was unaware. Hey, you can fool your supporters, but you're not fooling folks like us. You know what I'm saying? Folks with a little common sense. All right. So
defending Dave. I'm defending Dave.
In the indictment,
I'm defending
they had no knowledge of the money where it was coming from. So don't be a
I'm
jackass.
defending Dave on that note. But the money dried up.
Pakman,
you're being a tool, man.
You are no real Pakman.
Pakman, eat them up, baby.
You know, there's a reason, Piers. There's a reason that everyone hates progressives, and the reason that everyone hates progressives, it's not just that they're wrong about all of the issues and they will lie and their only real goal is power. It's because they're also smug elitists. And Pakman, I did see online the other day, you were crying because your audience is purging you and you're running out of subscribers and you're in a doom loop. And the reason is no one gives Piers, pardon me, a shit about this woke bullshit anymore. We've had it, and now you guys can sit back and be quiet. You want to talk about people being paid for their ideas?
Just let me address this.
It's you people who have had the entire cultural machine for 20 years. You've had all.
So he's comparing his Russian money versus people's subscriptions. That's not a one-on-one argument there. Hey, Dave, Ruben, you played yourself. Congratulations. Now he's mad. Now he's
all
mad.
Of entertainment. You have had all of Hollywood. You have had all of music. You've had all your P. Diddy parties and Epstein and everything else. And now enough of us have had it. So crawl back into your little irrelevant cave. It's time, bro.
Can I address any of that, Piers? Is that allowed?
Sure.
Okay. It is absolutely true that in the 48 hours after the election, a lot of very upset leftists started pulling back from political content. I was hit by it.
No, not from political content, from your political content.
I have to be able to talk about it,
them about everything.
I have to be able to talk. I have to be able to get a word in. Unless you just want Dave Rubin to talk. Let me know, Piers.
I love hearing Dave Rubin
I would prefer that.
Thank you, Piers.
No, if there's no rebuttal allowed, then I won't rebut.
You've probably done most of the talking so far, so why don't you do a bit more talking?
I'll say this and then I'll be quiet the rest of the show.
Because Brian hasn't said anything for ages. I want to bring him in.
I want Brian to win. That completely reversed. I do think that it must be that Dave is upset that Brian and I have surpassed him in viewership and subscribers. Because if you just look at the numbers, it lasted 48 hours. They all came back.
I don't even know who this other guy is.
Well, look, if it's going to come to that, I'm the biggest rocket in the room, right? I mean, it's like as Trump said to Kim Jong-un, you got your little rocket, I got my big rocket. So let's not get into the size of each other's YouTube rocket.
But that's the smug nonsense. Nobody cares about that.
It's the facts, Dave.
I honestly have no idea what your...
Let me bring in Brian.
Let me bring in Brian. What your views are, but I couldn't care less.
Hey, first off, okay, in the next 2-3 years, I'm going to be bigger than all of them. All right? Hey, I got my fingers crossed on that, all right?
I know your ideas are terrible. I don't care what your views are.
I want to play a clip of Donald Trump at the White House today. He's just met Joe Biden, and this is what happened.
Politics is tough, and it's, in many cases, not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Joe.
You're welcome.
Now, Dave, I've got to say, kudos to Joe Biden for doing that. Would it not have been better for America if Donald Trump had done that himself 4 years ago? Serious question.
Yeah, I think you can make that argument, but I think we're long past that argument.
Hey, Dave Rubin, just say yes. All right, stop beating around the bush. Stand on your business. Either say no because he got cheated out of the election in 2020, or just say yes. Trump was a sore loser and he should have did what all presidents have done, and that's concede their loss. But
I would rather focus on what Joe Biden, I think, did right there, and what we now have in a very interesting, 2+ months of the remainder of the Biden administration, where basically Biden, or whatever's left of Biden, or whoever's driving Biden, no longer has to placate to the completely lunatic progressive fringe anymore. And Biden actually could take advantage of some of the reordering that we feel throughout the world right now, not just in America, but quite literally across the globe. And he can actually pave the way for a really nice transition into a Trump presidency that I believe is going to reignite the American dream and bring back an 80s style revolution in America. I think we're going to have a burst throughout the economy.
No. First off, it is disingenuous for you to keep talking after the person you're supporting refused to do that himself. You already lost all grounds to complain about anything or put in your 2 cents. You cannot talk about that. If you're a football fan and your team is 0-12 for consecutive seasons, you have no right on God's green earth to say somebody else's football team is trash. You can't do that. You're going to look like an idiot. But unfortunately, that's a lot of Republican viewers who watch this clown. They're clueless about everything. They're literally dumb as a bag of rocks because they believe, well, Donald Trump, whatever he did 4 years ago doesn't matter because that was in the past. Like, no, you're an idiot, and whatever happens when Trump gets into office, for whatever crazy thing he does, I hope it affects you 1,000,000 times over and over.
I think it's going to be cultural. I think we're going to get new music and new art and new creativity and new businesses on the forefront of AI and all of these things. And Biden he has 2 months now where he could be like, you know what, we're going to get our 5 or 6 American hostages who are somewhere under Gaza back. We can do that. Like there's a real win for Biden to end up with here rather than, oh, you ended up with dementia and then ushered in quite literally the worst candidate in American history and placated to the radical left for 4 years when you were sold to us as old, modern.
Quick question. How many legislative bills did Trump pass under his administration versus Joe Biden's one term? You tell me who actually made some changes and who actually was just pretending to be president, to be that TV president. Answer that question. Let me know in the comments down below and tell me, does that make sense to anybody?
Moderate Joe. So Biden, and again, we don't know if Biden's running the show or it's Jill or whoever, but I think there's a real opportunity for him right now to do the right thing and usher in a really strong 4 years for Donald Trump.
Okay, and David Pakman, the appointments that Trump has put forward so far, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will run a new Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, having, the most successful, richest and possibly smartest guy on the planet getting stuck into government.
The smartest guy. It is funny how these people kiss ass so much. The richest and the smartest and the most handsomest and the most, vibrant and the most creative. Like, bro, shut up. Nothing that Elon Musk has acquired has been of his own except for a stupid ass flamethrower. Everything else was either created by someone else or just given to him or he just bought, like Twitter. So, hey, Piers, you got a little brown on your nose. Might want to wipe it off because it looks bad. Okay, not a good
bureaucracy. I would have thought that's very popular, isn't it?
It's so funny. A Department for Government Efficiency, new department when Trump wants to eliminate departments, and instead of being run by one person, it's being run by 2.
But they are going to eliminate, according to Musk, they're going to eliminate dozens of departments, though. So by the end of the process,
he said he's going to get rid of 300 departments.
They're going to get rid of a lot of departments, David Pakman. So, I mean, that seems to me to be a good thing, doesn't it? Or do you think that they should be?
Yeah, listen, in his first term, it was not exactly promises made, promises kept. I'm going to reserve judgment to see what happens. And the reason why, and Dave, honestly, I know we're not getting along here. I do like you. I wish we were still friends. I'd love to get our kids together to play soon. Dave Ruben making predictions. No, is crazy because his predictions always go wrong. Red wave for Republicans in 2018 didn't happen. 30% black vote for Trump in 2020 didn't happen. Republicans get 54 Senate seats in 2022. I've got a list of 30 Ruben predictions. They're always wrong. So I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see.
I can see why you're looking for new friends, Pakman.
Hey, what did he say that was incorrect? Hey, if you have a record of being wrong, maybe, just maybe, you're not a betting person. Hey, I'm right there with you. I tried doing some betting back in the day. I've lost every bet that I ever done. So I don't do it because that's not my strong suit. Okay, I only can talk about the present or the past. But when it comes to predictions, that's not my game. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Dave Ruben, it's okay. Let it go, brother.
Sorry, I missed that,
I think
Dave.
Piers can attest to this. Being in the business we're in, you're going to get election predictions wrong. I have no problem admitting that. I get election predictions wrong all the time. But when it comes to getting the ideas right, I think I've had a pretty damn good track record on that. And again, you're just illustrating why nobody likes progressives. Your smug, holier-than-thou attitude, it's just disgusting to most people. You think you're the savior for people that want nothing to do with you. And frankly, for all the David Pakman subscribers that want to watch a show that actually is informative and funny and interesting and, dare I say, irreverent, I would tune into the Ruben Report.
By the way, when it comes to Trump and the LGBTQ community, can we just remind us, in fact, why don't we, given it's been quite a contentious panel, Trump has been ending his rallies with the famous YMCA dance, right? Which is a gay anthem performed by a bunch of gay guys, right? And is now taken fire and has now become a trend around the world. Why don't we all come together as one big cis LGBT, whatever you want to call it, community, and have a little dance? Here we go.
And it's weird because Dave Ruben is gay himself, but yet he is reflecting all this hatred to people who are just like him. It's just a little weird to me. What is going on? Oh, I think they muted because you can't play the music, which is good because I don't want to get in trouble. Do you see? Holy shit! Do you see the stupidity that folks like myself have to deal with? I'm sitting here reading countless of articles. Just a few months ago, I challenged myself for 6 months to read a book a week, and I did it through audiobook and digitally, taking countless of notes of all types of topics, okay? Things that normally I wouldn't be into, but just because of the position I'm in, I have to keep myself knowledgeable on these things. And we literally have idiots like this who don't do half the work. They don't do half the effort. They have people that will do something and just give them the results and they just read it off of paper. But if you talk to them one-on-one, they don't have nothing of substance to give you. This is what we're up against, is idiots who don't care about information. Because oddly enough, the information is what we're relaying to each other. So it does matter. But no, let's just talk about fear-mongering people and just scapegoating, to marginalize, demonize people, and that will just get you the money that you need. But unfortunately, folks like myself, we don't play like that. We don't roll like that. As you see what the shirt says, truth, hustle. That's what we do on a daily basis. So once again, if you disagree with anything that I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below or hit that Discord link so we can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.